think you should, yeah.
So really quick in the beginning, I want to apologize for not getting this video and the next video that will be about Persona 5 and then the episode that came out last weekend. And the reason why I didn't get the video out in the first place, or these videos out in the first place, was because I obviously haven't watched the episodes yet. B, I have been dealing with family issues today. Well, mainly today. Well, actually, no. Let me rephrase that. I've been dealing with family issues for like the past week and a half, almost 2 weeks. And yesterday, my grandmother had to get sent to the hospital because she obviously had to get some stuff done around, her eye area. Basically, it's really swollen, and she has some issue or something. I think it has something to do with one of the veins around her eye, and so her eye got really swollen, and it's bad. It's really, really bad. She can barely open it, and it's fucking horrible. It's fucking horrible. It really bums me down, and it doesn't make me as motivated as I used to be. It makes me just want to, lie around in my bed all day just because, I'm so worried about her, and I want to be around, supporting her and stuff. And then also on Sunday, it was Mother's Day, so I had my mom come over, and I spent Mother's Day with her and stuff. So I was really distracted by a lot of things for the past couple of days, and I couldn't watch the episode, and I couldn't record because A, I was procrastinating, B, I hadn't watched the episodes yet, and C, well, I was dealing with family issues. So without further ado, let's get into the actual reason why you clicked on the video instead of trying to, send sympathy towards me. We're here to talk about the most recent episode of My Hero Academia. I forgot what episode number it is, and I don't really care to really remember what it is either way. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the episode and just leave it at that. So obviously the episode begins off where we had left off last week, which started off with, the whole thing in the beginning with Dark Shadow and how Fumikage couldn't control, Dark Shadow. He had basically lost control of it. And for those of you who don't know how his quirk works, the more darker an area that he's in, the less control he has over it. And, obviously the lighter it is, the more he can control it, but it's also a lot weaker. So, and it also seems like it's really revolved around his emotions, because one of the classmates gets attacked by one of the League of Villains guys, and apparently he was angry and just really pissed off that he had gotten attacked because it's the guy that can have multiple limbs, Shoji, right? That's his name. He can have multiple limbs, and one of them basically got cut off, right, by Moonfish was his name. I think it was that guy. Fumikage, he lost control. Dark Shadow, was basically then he basically went on a fucking rampage, and Dark Shadow's fucking scary whenever he doesn't have control over it. It's actually kind of fucking terrifying, and it was actually it's actually really cool to kind of see, a situation where Dark Shadow can basically just, it could be out of his control and he can't really do anything. So it looked really cool, and so basically Deku had to make a decision whether or not he, obviously help him and control Dark Shadow, but there's almost no way that he can do that, because in order to really calm it down or for him to get control over it again, there has to be some sort of light source, right? So the only thing that they can really do is lead him back to the camp, so that way, he can Fumikage can obviously get control back of Dark Shadow. But Deku wanted to go help Bakugo because the League of Villains are after him to basically get him on their side, as it seems like later on in the episode, when one of the other guys, mentions that. And so Deku brings up the brilliant idea of saving the both of them. So Deku and Shoji, they bring Dark Shadow and Fumikage to Todoroki and Bakugo, and they create enough light source to put Dark Shadow under control, whilst at the same time knocking out Moonfish, the guy who can extend out like his teeth or his braces or some shit. They knock him out, or rather Dark Shadow does, and it looked really cool. I actually really liked how they did it, and it made sense, and you know it worked out all in the end either way. So it looked cool, and everyone benefit from it, regardless of the person. Besides, I guess the League of Villains, because the fucker got knocked out, and it was. Anyways, it was pretty awesome. I enjoyed it. And the episode continues on, and basically Deku is like, alright, I gotta fucking protect Bakugo because these assholes are after him for reasons that right there currently they had no idea what the reason was in the first place. Then in the middle of the episode, after a transition I guess, they go to Asui and Ochako, and they're fighting Himiko Toga, right? And people have been saying some shit about her, and kind of like how she's kind of crazy and shit. I've seen some art of her, and I read up a little bit about her as well, but I didn't really get like what people were talking about when they were talking about her. And yeah, this episode kind of brought a whole new light about her character for me. She's a complete fucking psychopath. I actually don't know what her quirk is, but she's really obsessed with blood. And in the same, scene, or rather in the same fight, she mentions that she's currently really obsessed with some person, right? To the point where she dressed up like a person and she wanted to act like a person, stuff like that. And she said that Ochako felt the same way about someone, but she didn't know who it was. And it's Deku. And then when Deku shows up with everybody else, so that way they can fucking help the two of them out, apparently she then fucking falls for Deku for some reason. I don't really get it, but it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny in the sense that, she's a villain and she's fallen for a hero because for some fucking reason it was kind of uncomfortable in that sense, because obviously we have another character that people really want to be shit with Deku and stuff. So either way, it's whatever. This other guy, he captures Bakugo and Fumikage. His name's Mr. Compress, right? Mr. Compress. And he basically trapped them. He can use like magic and stuff. He's not really a fighter as it seems, right? So he runs away. All the League of Villains that are there currently trying to get Bakugo. He tells them all through a radio that he finally captured them, and they have to meet up in a said location, and that's what they go and do. And so Dabi obviously heads towards the area, and turns out he can control one of the Nomus. Like one of the Nomus, that All For One it perceives to be who creates the Nomus. Apparently Dabi, just by voice commands, can control him, and he's currently chasing after one of the people from probably Class 1B, because I've never seen him before, and Momo, and she's currently like bleeding, and she's like basically almost fucking unconscious. And then Nomu, he then starts trying to go back to wherever the fuck Dabi is in the forest, right? Then she then creates like some sort of like tiny button thing, right? And apparently the dude's quirk that she's with, apparently he can stick items onto himself or to other things. So she tells him to stick the little button thing to the Nomu, right? And for people who obviously don't really get why she did that, it's very obviously a tracking device. So it's on the Nomu's back, and he's starting to like leave and do whatever. All of them try to retreat back, and then Deku's trying. Everyone else is still trying to go after the fucker who took Bakugo and Fumikage. And so he's like, all right, you fucking girl who can use zero gravity, make Shoji, Todoroki, and Deku use zero gravity on them, and then Asui is gonna use her tongue, wink wink, to basically chuck them all the way towards wherever the fuck Mr. compress is, and then spoilers, end of the episode, they land on the motherfucker's back towards the ground, and then they meet up with Dabi, one of the other guys whose name I can't remember, and Himiko Toga, and it basically just then cuts off there, and that's the end of the episode. It was a really cool way to end off the episode because you still have to remember that Deku is still fucked up from his fight from Muscular, and I moved my hand in front of my mic, so I apologize if the audio quality got a little distant there for a second, but so basically next week we're gonna see 3-on-3, and it should be interesting because we haven't seen Dabi really do too much other than the little bit of fighting that we see him with Eraserhead. So it should be interesting to see what he does. You know, overall the episode was a lot of fun to watch. It had a lot of moments where it was like really creepy and kind of weird, and you realize there's a fucking character in the story who's a literal fucking psychopath. And then there's also, you know, the whole Dark Shadow stuff, which was it was creepy, but it was like really, really cool, and you really enjoyed it just because it's different and we don't really see Dark Shadow like that too often. So either way, that's pretty much all that I have for the rest of the episode. The animation was really good. Excuse me, animation was really good. You know, obviously the scripting that they had for the episode, you know, it works for the scenario that they're in. The episode was overall really good. I had fun watching it. I highly recommend that you go watch it as well. And I promise that next episode, the video review won't be out as late as it was. And I promise whenever the next episode of Boruto comes out, which is tomorrow, I also promise that episode or that video won't be out late as well. So either way, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the video here. If you did enjoy, be sure to drop a like, and if you aren't new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'm out. Peace.